Okay, we've talked about the microanatomy of muscle fibers, and now let's go a little bit larger. Let's talk about the types of skeletal muscle fibers. There are three types of muscle fibers. We have slow, fast, and intermediate. And the type that they are depends on whether or not, or how they use oxygen to produce ATP, which is the energy molecule used in muscle contraction. For oxidative use, we're talking about aerobic, so this is using oxygen. And for glycolytic use, we're talking about making ATP by glycolysis, which is the breakdown of sugars without oxygen, which is anaerobic. Now, we have fast fibers and we have slow fibers. So the fast fibers are white fibers. They are large, predominantly anaerobic, and fatigue rapidly. Remember, they are relying on glycogen reserves, and most of the skeletal muscle fibers are fast. Then we have slow fibers, and these are red fibers. So remember, white is fast, slow is red. And red fibers are half the diameter, 3 times slower, but can continue contracting. They are aerobic. They have more mitochondria and myoglobin. Now, then we have the intermediate, which is something in between. Let's talk more about these fibers. Remember that skeletal muscle contracts when its motor units are stimulated. And the amount of tension depends on 1, the frequency of stimulation, and 2, the number of motor units involved. A single momentary contraction is called a muscle twitch. And remember the all or none principle, and that is that each muscle fiber either contracts completely or not at all. And the amount of force depends on how many motor units are activated. Think about muscle tone. Even at rest, some muscle units are active. The muscle is tensed even though it is not causing movement, and this is called resting tone. So how about muscle hypertrophy? Think about weight training. With weight training, or repeated intense workouts, this increases the diameter and strength of fast muscle fibers, the big fibers, by increasing the production of mitochondria, actin and myosin protein, myofilaments containing these contractile proteins, and the myofibril organelles these myofilaments form. Remember that the fibers enlarge, which is hypertrophy, as the number and size of myofibrils increase. So muscle fibers equals muscle cells, and they don't increase in number, but increase in the diameter, producing large muscles. Remember that with endurance training, which is aerobic, we do not have hypertrophy. And muscle atrophy is the loss of tone and mass from lack of stimulation. The muscle becomes smaller and weaker. A note regarding terminology. In general, the increased size is hypertrophy, but an increased number of cells would be hyperplasia.